Coming up next, our App of the Week, in which we show you how to use the app and review its accessibility. You can submit your recording for this segment. Email it to us at contactus@blindandroidusers.com.
For App of the Week this week, Warren demonstrates the app Radio G. It's a great radio app, it's pretty accessible, and let's go deep dive into details.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast, and for episode 154 App of the Week, this is demonstrating an app called Radio G. That's RADIO space letter G as in go. Now, I'm particularly interested in this app because it allows the ability to record, and that's one of the perks for me when I'm looking for a radio app. Now, another beauty about this also is the fact that you could add your own radio stations, or you could suggest radio stations that could be added. Before showing you around on the app, I would like to mention here in passing that most of the buttons are not labeled, and thus TalkBack is doing the heavy lifting. And however, the good news is that these buttons so far that I've found that are not labeled and TalkBack doing the labeling, you can actually manually label those things to say exactly what you want them to say. And now let's get to demonstrating the app. I am on my home screen and will navigate my way to the app icon, and let's get started.
Radio G.
Here is Radio G, and I'll tap to activate.
Radio G. Allow Radio G to send you notifications. Allow button out of pager.
The first thing we heard is as to whether or not we would like Radio G to send us notifications or not. Now, I'm notorious for not letting apps sending me notifications, and you can choose to allow it to send you notifications. For this demonstration, though, I'm going to tap on I don't want you to send me any notifications.
Don't allow button.
Therefore, I'm tapping on Don't Allow.
Radio G. Stations.
There we are. We are now in the main UI of the app. And the first thing we heard is radio stations. Now, I would like to mention here in passing that at the bottom, we encounter 4 tabs. Starting from the bottom left, the first tab we encounter is stations, and I think that's the one that's highlighted by default. Here's what I'm talking about, starting from the bottom left and going toward the right.
Stations, tab, selected, 1 of 4, in list, 4 items.
We are told the Stations tab is selected, 1 of 4. Moving to the right.
Favorites, tab, 2 of 4.
The next tab we come across is the favorites. That is, if you favorite any station, it will be right here in the favorites tab. Next to the right of that,
History, tab, 3 of 4.
History, and that will have to do with the history of the stations that you've listened to. You will find them here in the History tab when it is activated. The last tab on the right here, however, will be
Settings, tab, 4 of 4.
Settings, and that's the last one here. Now, let's go ahead, though, and see if there are any other things on the top. I'll be starting from the top left and then going right.
Stations, out of list.
I put my finger near the top left corner, and it simply says Stations out of list. Moving my finger to the right, and if you're a swiper, just swipe.
Add free version, button.
It says Add free version. That is, if I wanted it to be ad free, that is, I want to remove ads. By default, this is the free version, and so it is ad supported. However, if you want to remove the ads, you can choose to get the ad-free version. We'll take a look and see as to how much it costs to remove those ads. Next button, going right.
Sleep mode, button.
We come across a sleep mode. So, for example, if you're listening to a radio station at nighttime and you are not sure if you're going to be falling asleep or something to that effect, you could choose to say, hey, in an hour, turn it off or whatever. Next, the last button on the top right will be
Search, button.
will be the search, and that explains what it is. You could tap here and search for a particular genre or particular radio station or particular country, whatever, and get to what you're looking for. Let's go ahead, though, and tap on that ad-free to see how much it would cost in the event that you would like to remove ads. I'll now find and tap on ad-free version.
Ad-free version button.
I'll tap.
Google Play Store. Progress bar. Google Play.
Tapping on that ad-free takes us to the Play Store so we can buy the app. I'll put my finger. Usually the pop-up is found toward the bottom, or you could start from the middle and just explore downward.
Ad-free app version.
There we go, in the middle toward the bottom half of the phone, we are told ad-free version, and I'm moving down.
Radio G Online Radio and Recorder.
I'm moving down.
99 cents.
So it's 99 cents, basically just $1 if you want to get it. However, I will suggest that you play with the free version to be sure this is something that you actually really like before spending your dollar on it. And I'll now go back to the main UI.
Radio G. Ad-free version button.
Takes me back to that ad-free version button. Now, the next item I want to look at is the last item on the right, and that's the last tab, and that's the settings. Let's go ahead and tap on Settings.
Settings, tab, 4 of 4, in list, 4 items.
Here is Settings, and I'll tap to activate.
Settings, selected.
I am now in the settings. Let's take some time now and go through the settings, see what items we have here, if things we could turn on or things we could turn off.
Dark theme, switch, off, out of list.
So we're told that dark theme is switched off. If you want to turn it into the dark theme mode instead of the light theme, you tap on this one to activate it. And it seems like this is not behind a paywall. I'm going to tap here to activate dark mode.
On.
All right, now moving down.
Autoplay last radio station on start, switch, off.
The next item we come across is to autoplay the station that you are listening to when you start the app, and it's totally up to you. By default, though, this is off. Next, let's move on down.
Auto pause when headset is unplugged, switch, on.
That one is on by default in the event that you are using a headset, and when you unplug the headset, it will pause the station. Next.
Keep screen on, switch, off.
Keep screen on, and that by default is switched off. I'm not turning it on. Next.
Show records in bottom menu, switch, off.
We come across an interesting feature here, says show records at the bottom. So by default, this is turned off. Now, if I tap on this, my guess is that it's going to place a tab at the bottom of the phone alongside with the other 4 tabs as records or something to that effect. I'll go ahead and turn this on, and we'll see if I'm correct in my thinking that this is going to be a tab added to the bottom tabs. So I'll tap here to activate that it should place records at the bottom of the phone.
Allow Radio G to send you notifications. Allow button.
Tapping on that is asking me whether or not I should allow it to send me notifications. And again, I'm going to say no. I don't know if that's going to deactivate that adding that tab to the bottom row or not.
Don't allow button.
But I'll tap on do not allow anyhow.
Radio G settings.
All right, let's see if that thing is turned on.
Show records in bottom menu, switch, on.
There we go. It is still turned on. And next.
Create a new recording file for each song, switch, off.
And you could choose to create a new recording for each file in the event that maybe is something different that you're recording. Maybe I'm recording a show and it's a new show or whatever. I could create a new file for that. It's totally up to you. At least we have that customization, and you can choose as to how you want to proceed with this. Next.
Save recordings to the system music folder, switch, off.
And here we find it saying that whether we should save the recordings to the music system folder. In other words, it seems like it will be saving your recordings in the app's directory. That's how I understand it. So you could choose here and then choose where you want to save your recordings to. In other words, if you turn this on, then you'll be choosing for a different folder on your system that you would like to save your recordings to. Next.
The entries are saved inside the app and will be deleted when you uninstall it.
That explains it. So it confirms what I was thinking. It'll be saving within the app itself. And should you remove the app, all those recordings also will be deleted. So if you feel that you're going to be saving your files for some later listening in the event that you uninstall the app or anything like that, you're probably better off checking that checkbox or turning on that switch above and simply choose a different folder that you would like it to save your recordings to, maybe like in your music folder, or creating a folder within your music folder called Radio G and just storing those things in there. Next.
Country, United States.
And here we're told country, United States by default. Of course, if this is not your country, you want to make another country to be your default, I suppose you could tab here and go choose that country to be the one that it starts up on. Next.
Language, English.
We come across language selection. And of course, if you tab here, I'm sure you'll be able to choose the language that you would like to use for the interface of the app. Next.
Records.
Records. So I'm thinking that if you tab here, you'll be seeing all that you've recorded so far. So it will be like if I have recorded something and I want to see what I've recorded, then I'll tab here to see the items that I've recorded. Next.
Alarms.
Next, we come across alarms. So if you want to choose a radio station to be an alarm for you, this is where you're going to find that. Let's move on to the next item, and we come across
Statistics.
Statistics, and that's the one that you could tap on to see the stats and all of that. I'm not interested in stats, so let's move on.
Equalizer.
We come across equalizer, how you want it to sound like. You can boost up some of the mids and highs, and all of that is totally up to you. Next.
Add radio station.
We come across add radio station. So for example, if you're interested in a particular radio station and it's not found on here on the app, as long as you know the URL to that particular radio station, you could add it here. You tap here and follow the instructions and add the desired radio station that you would like to add. Next.
Share app.
We come across share app. You could tap here to share the app. Next.
Leave feedback.
We come across leave feedback. In other words, you could go in here and report any problems that you have found. Next.
Privacy policy.
We come across the privacy policy, and that indeed seems to be the last item. Because if I move my finger down,
History, tab, 3 of 5.
my
list,
finger lands
5
me
items.
on the tab. So I'm going to tap back on the stations. That's the item on the bottom left.
Stations, tab, 1 of 5.
Let's go ahead and tap.
Radio G. Stations, tab, selected, 1 of 5. In list, 5 items.
There we go on the Stations tab. Now, because of copyright issues and things like that, I will not be allowing the sound to go through in the demonstration. For example, if I want to find a station here and then show you how it plays, and let's see if we could find where to record and all of that. So I'm going to be muting that, so you're not going to be hearing it play in this demonstration. Let's put our finger down and see what we find, starting from the top.
Local, tab, selected, 1 of 5.
That's the first tab on the top left, and we have local, and that by default is selected. And so these are like the genres. So if I move my finger to the right,
Global, tab, 2 of 5.
there's global. That means you're looking across the world. Next tab.
Genres, tab, 3 of 5.
We come across genres. So if you're into music, maybe you want oldies or country or rock or hip hop or pop or whatever it is, you tap here and choose the category that you would like to listen to music from. Next, moving right.
Countries, tab, 4 of 5.
We come across countries. So if you tap here, you could choose the different countries that you want to listen to radio stations from. And the last tab on the right will be
Languages, tab, 5 of 5.
Languages. You go in here and choose the language that you want to use for the UI of this particular app. I'll move my finger down though and see what some of the stations that we come across.
Radio Paradise, 320K, 156,799. English, California, eclectic, free, internet, non-commercial, Paradise, radio, Enlist.
Wow. And so you see an example. So I'm going to tap on this one just for giggles. So when I tapped on it, it started playing. And of course, I'm cutting this out.
Radio Paradise, 320K, Trentemüller, Candy Tongue, out of list.
So when you tap on a radio station, for example, toward the bottom, just above those tabs, like the favorites and all of that, you see the name of the radio station and what is playing. And then to the right of it,
BTN Copy Station, button.
There's a copy station. And to the right,
Detected. Icon, play, button.
Then there's a play button. And that would be the last button there. Now, I want to mention here in passing that if you tap on the name of the station, which is found there toward the bottom above the tabs, it will take us to a full page where it gives us more information and more controls. So now I'll tap on the name of the station, in this case, Radio Paradise.
Radio Paradise, 320K, Trentemüller, Candy Tongue.
And now I'll tap on Radio Paradise.
Radio G, navigate up, button.
So we're told navigate up. That's the top button on the top left there is highlighted. And moving to the right,
Add alarm, button.
there's add alarm if you want to make this to be your alarm station. And one more button to the top right
Share, button.
is the share button. Now moving our way down toward the bottom of the phone.
Detected. Text, WAM radio. Com, button.
And we have a button here that says what it said.
IV country icon, button.
And it says country icon, so that's the country it's playing from. Of course, I'm on the US by default, moving my finger down.
Radio Paradise, 320K.
And it tells us it's playing at 320 kbps.
320 kilobits per second, English.
All right, moving down.
Trentemüller, Candy Tongue.
It says the name of whatever the music is. Moving down.
BTN Copy Station, button.
We come across that copy station, and to the right of it,
Detected. Text, 1 Estral. Oldie. 1 ounge, slider, 53%.
and what I noticed with the slider is that it's not that you're going to be changing. If you increase the slider, you're going to be changing or moving the song to another song or anything like that. However, the slider seems to be controlling the volume. So if you don't want to use your volume keys on your phone, you could use this to adjust the volume. I'm not playing this because I know it's going to be getting in the recording, and Google is very particular about striking down for copyright material. Next, moving down,
Detected. Icon, play, button.
we got play. And of course, we're not seeing the record button because it's not playing. And if it's not playing, you're not going to find a record button. But to the right of that,
Detected. Icon, star, text, John, button.
the star. To the right,
Detected. Icon, like, button.
you can like the station. I'm going to tap on the play. And then I will show you the record button.
Detected. Icon, play, button.
And as you hear, it says detected, meaning that TalkBack is doing the heavy lifting. So for example, if I want to change this label and just call it play, or whatever, so it's not saying detected, you could just invoke the talkback menu. And for example, if I just tap with 3 fingers,
Talkback menu. Add label, in list.
and there's add label there, I could tap there to go add label to it.
Radio G. BTN play pause, button, out of list.
Now I'm going to tap there. So I want to mention here in passing that as soon as I tap on the play, then to the left of the play button is the record, or it'll say microphone. And you could change that by activating the talkback menu on it and choosing the label and give it the label of record/pause or record/stop or whatever you want to call it. But once it's not playing, that button is not showing. And I can't show you that because I don't want that copyrighted thing getting in the way. So that's how it works, though. You kind of have an idea of how it works. Go ahead and give it a spin. And if you find it to be something you would like to keep, then you could buy it for 99 cents. And that's Radio G.
Well, thank you so much, Warren. When I heard that you're going to demonstrate the app, I also installed it, and I saw, wow, there are a lot of radio stations from Turkey. I was amazed. Wow. It's amazing, though.
Now I think I'm going to try to listen to some. Now I think I'm going to try to listen to some Turkish station. Then, now that you've talked about it, what I like about these online radio stations is that one is able to listen to radio stations from different parts of the world, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'll be listening to maybe some radio station out of Samsung City.
And
That
remembering
would be nice.
Turkey next Thursday is Thanksgiving in USA.
Yeah,
Turkey.
good.
Yeah, so I'm going to
Yeah.
be eating you up, Sally.
Good. Nice.
Oh boy.